AI and IoT both are not new technologies as to say. These technologies actually are helping adding intelligence to the devices. When we talk of intelligence, we think about humans. So what humans can do, they can see, they can hear, they can feel or touch, So those are the sort of the senses that humans have, and that adds to our intelligence. We take actions based on what we see and hear and touch. And if we replace that inanimated objects, where some of these objects you add sensors which will be able to see things, will be things like cameras, things which will be able to feel the location, know the movement. All these things will help you take that information, add it to some sort of a storage which has become now much easily accessible, which we call cloud, and then you process that with the computing power, which has now become cheaper and much more powerful. That allows you to replicate some of the human functions. So that's why we are calling it intelligence. For all the industries, digital is an inseparable part of your life now. Technology is an inseparable part of your life. Don't see it as a separate element. And everybody needs to get onto that so-called bandwagon, or I wouldn't call it a bandwagon, even an essential thing that called technology, which they will have to incorporate in their day-to-day working. And it's a journey. It's not something you do in one day or decision taken and money spent and it's over. It's a journey that you take today and start building it, and over next couple of years you will start realizing the benefits and see the transformation happening. Transformation is not going to be overnight, and right from it needs to start from the top, and the top person needs to be totally aligned with it and putting all his heart and mind behind it. Even public sector is pretty similar, they also realize now this is important thing when it comes to the industry, especially the large industries have got this realization, or large public organizations are also the view that technology can help them surmount some of the challenges they are facing. And whether it is tracking your public buses, to help crime against, women. They have started adding GPSs, cameras in the buses. These are some of the areas, we see some of these citizen-centric services doing it. When talking about industries, a lot of these public sectors in India especially have started recognizing that, and they have their divisions which are just focusing only on this, so-called chief digital officers and similar positions like CIOs are focusing totally on these technologies. India is different for sure. One of the things that somewhat of a constraint I feel is a capital infusion into some of these areas. Other countries definitely have far more spending on these technologies, which helps them, put 5 ideas to test at one time. They may have 10 startups running on one idea, and that may lead to some good idea winning at the end of it, and all of them getting decent funding. So those are sort of the constraints one of the constraints that we have. We have advantages also. While we have constraints, there are advantages also. Large population is sometimes an advantage, and cost advantage we have. So that kind of somewhat that lack of capital gets neutralized by cost advantage. And I think some of the other advantages are there are I think a little more I would say global centricity in a Silicon Valley and things like that, which again is coming to Bangalore now or even Hyderabad. So all these things are kind of turning into an advantage for India also now. Smart village is definitely a possibility. There are areas, where especially how to conserve water, how to help in their, as I said, in agriculture domain. Rural is basically sort of equated with agriculture, to how to use technology to their advantage, how to get connected to larger marketplaces so that they don't get exploited for prices. So rather than middlemen exploiting them, and buying their produce for much lower cost, they can directly get connected to the end user. So they get more prices and end user gets little less maybe. So as a result, everybody gains. End user, consumers gain, farmers gain, because middlemen are now reduced.